Then we also work with all of our campuses and the community to enhance public education. So we are also looking for different ways to bring additional education materials and opportunities to you. So I will make a note to myself to mention this because this is not in our slides, but I
Yeah.
will mention
Learn
that
about the
later.
union. Mhm.
Delia, could you mute yourself, please? All right. So when we think about the State Center Federation of Teachers dues, what you pay as a part-time faculty member is $16 a month. So that is directly as a payroll deduction. And when you join, you will be directed to authorize these dues to be removed directly from your paycheck. If we think about this from a bird's eye view, that's about $80 a semester or $160 per academic year. So this is a really low entry for being a supporting you dues paying member. So what you get from these dues is you get access to the California Federation of Teachers state level and the American Federation of Teachers national resources and trainings. This includes things like unemployment workshops, or looking at different 10+1 or academic senate training meetings. There are opportunities to participate on committees or other activities for the CFT and trying to, if you are interested in policy development or if you want a seat at a state or national level. It also allows you access to legal counsel in dealings with the district if that becomes necessary. So, when we are supporting individuals from the union level regarding contract issues, there are there are times when a personal lawyer may be beneficial, and that is not covered unless you are an active dues paying member. There are also SEFT scholarships for so children of my family could apply for an SCFT scholarship. And we need part timers, not just full timers, largely because strength in numbers helps us to survey you, prioritize what you think is important, and leverage our collective bargaining goals. So that is the entire purpose of unionization, to have strength in numbers. Member dues also help our public advocacy and political action, both at the local and state levels. And then dues help pay for our funded staff, our union house, and the different materials that we need on a day-to-day basis. So we need printer paper or mailing labels or stamps. Those are the kinds of operational costs that exist. So then when we think about our individual colleges, we have different members that are available to outreach if you need assistance at each campus. So at Clovis Community College, we have Janice Ledgerwood, who is the VP of Member Rights. And then we have at-large representatives like me, and then Ashley Rocker Green, who is the only full-time staff member of the union. She is the executive director of operations or organizer. So she is generally your first contact. And if you reach out through the website or through our contact forms, or if you call her directly, she will forward your needs to the right person to make sure that you're talking to the person who can help you best. At Fresno City College, Paul Gilmore is the VP of Member Rights. And then we also have FCC at-large representatives, both full-time and part-time. And then, of course, Ashley Rocker Green is your primary outreach contact. At Madera Community College, we have Jeff Reagan as the VP of Member Rights, part-time and full-time at-large reps, and then outreaching Ashley Rocker Green as your first contact. And at Reedley College, we have Lori Levine. I hope I said her last name correctly. She is the current VP of Member Rights. And then we do not have an at-large representative at the moment. but that means that we would be coordinating with other at-large reps as needed. And then Ashley Rocker Green is your first contact. So one of the things I would like to add right now before I go too far is that currently we are going through election season. So if you are an active dues paying member for the past 12 months, then you can nominate yourself to be to be on the ballot to run for different positions of office. So I'm going to show you real quick, just if I could drag it over here. Right here, this is our scftunion.org website. And this is, what the homepage looks like right now. We are modifying things so that things can be updated. And so the website is going through some maintenance issues. Be patient as we get through it. But we have videos, we have information, recent news, and then, sorry, that's so fast. Up here, this is where you can access negotiations, updates, and then officer elections. So elections are what I wanted to briefly mention. So if you've been an active dues paying member for 12 months, you're eligible to self-nominate for the current election cycle. The positions that we have available are listed. These are little videos that talk about the election process and how the voting happens, how it's counted, and the different positions that are available for election this cycle, which includes these positions. And I'm going to make this a little bit larger since some people have smaller screens right now. Okay, so the current positions include the union president, the vice president of communications, vice president of special assignments, vice president of academic affairs at both FCC and CCC, full-time at-large representatives at FCC, CCC, and RC, and then part-time at-large representatives, two of them at FCC, and then one at Clovis Community College, and one at Reedley College, and one at Madera College, Community College. So these are the positions that are available for nomination, and you can be nominated by somebody else, you can nominate other people, or you can nominate yourself. And then these videos provide descriptions of what these positions entail and the expectations. So check this out. I strongly encourage people to consider participation if you've been an active dues paying member. Being a part of the union and actively engaging with our part-time members has been a really valuable experience for me, and I hope other people consider it. So I wanted to mention that before we move into some of the products that the Part-Time Advisory Committee has developed in support of our part-time faculty. So PTAC, which is the Part-Time Advisory Committee, is a committee that's led by our chair and vice president of part-time affairs, Karina Lemos, who is on the call. Do you want to say hi, Karina?
Yes, I'm sorry I don't have my video going. I just have a really bad internet company. I live in the country of Kingsburg. But anyways, hello, my name is Karina Lemos. I am currently your Vice President of Part-Time Affairs for our union, FCFT Local 1533. And then I'm also working at Reedley College part-time as an Office Technologies instructor. But I do have a long history with State Center. I used to also be a classified professional for 18 years before coming back and heading this adventure of doing part-time instruction and then getting involved with our union. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for, I'm glad your internet worked for you to be able to introduce yourself for sure. So our part-time advisory committee is built of some occasional full-time individuals, but mostly part-time executive board members that work towards policy development, resource development, and specifically doing outreach for our part-time faculty. So what our goal is to make these resources and products available to all part-timers regardless of a dues paying status, though some of these resources are limited to only our dues paying members. So when we look at our current PTAC, that's how we say it for short. So our PTAC committee is Karina Lemos, Samantha Brookshire, Enid Perez, Ria Williams, Monique Quintana, Christina Miko, Michael Essinger, and myself, Leanna Evans. So if I'm not sure who all we have on the call. I think Enid is here.
Yes, I just want to welcome everyone. My name is Enid Perez, and I teach in Chicano Studies. I've been at City College for 28 years, and I'm your large representative for the part-timers.
And that is at what campus again?
Fresno City College.
Fresno City College. Okay. I'm not sure that I heard it at first. And Ria?
Yes, I am here. Good morning, Ria Williams. I'm actually full-time faculty. I've been at Fresno City since 2015 in the English department. I've been through a few different positions through the union, but I remember my part-time experience and really believe in supporting the majority of the faculty that we have. So I'm always excited to be on PTAC.
And I think there's been a significant evolution of, PTAC over the years, which, is because we're always trying to be innovative and, create new solutions or products that are going to reach our part-timers best. So some of those resources this year, we have created a new Discord product, and this is a part-time faculty Discord. And so on the screen, we have a QR code, or you can click on the link once we get these resources, the PowerPoint out to you, to join our Discord channel. And Discord is one of those things, it's like any other social media where, your participation and your engagement is what makes the channel better. So if we have 50 people, but nobody talks, then it's going to be a very boring social media channel. But if we have 50 people that chime in, once a week, or, whenever you have a question, or engaging in just saying, hey, what's going on this week? Are there any board meetings? Are there any activities? Anything like that? The more we communicate with each other and the more we talk, the more engaging and wonderful this Discord channel will be. So I strongly encourage people to, join our Discord service and just start asking questions. It can really be anything because it is not discipline specific, and it is not limited to only instructional staff, so there's a lot of knowledge, wisdom, voices, and experience that I think can really help us build our community. And then the other product that we've been developing for the past year and a half is part-time corner office hours. So if you have attended one of these events, then you have seen my lovely face before. And this is on the first Fridays of the month. Our first one for this spring semester will be on February 6th at 12 p.m. And it is a 2-hour event. And one of the things that I work to do is to create an open opportunity for people to bring questions and, ask anything that's specifically relevant to themselves, or if they had a question about, contract rights, or if they had a topic suggestion, right? And then after that, we've evolved where I'm preparing content so that we can deliver some education, and hopefully, somebody can learn something new every month. And then we're recording that and sending it out to our community to be able to watch, because not everybody is able to attend. So attending live is sometimes challenging because we recognize that part-timers like me have other full-time jobs, or maybe they are highway warriors teaching at multiple campuses all over the valley. And so there are lots of things that interfere with our ability to be at one place at every time. And we recognize that. And this is our opportunity to allow people to get information when they have time and the opportunity to access it. So another workflow that I am working on, and anytime you introduce a new workflow, it can be challenging and not so awesome in the beginning, but believe me, I am genuinely working on trying to create this process. And this new workflow is to include ASL interpretation of the recordings that are being sent out to our members. So it is challenging for us to have an ASL interpreter during the live presentations, but I'm working on getting it facilitated for interpretation before we send it out to our larger community, because this is really important to us, access and making sure that people can, they feel that our products are for them. So that is a new workflow process that I hope to nail down by the end of this semester. And, I thought it would be so simple, and it is less simple than I was hoping. So, but anyway, that is on deck. And then another another opportunity that we have is our part-time house meetings. And it's an open house meeting, meaning that everybody from every campus is welcome to drop in at any one of our events. These events happen on typically the second Fridays of every month, but we sometimes have to move them to accommodate other events like spring break, or maybe we have campus closure, something like that. So our first open house event will be on Friday, January 16th, and this will be via Zoom. So we always have one, sometimes two Zoom open house events so that people can access it from anywhere. We also understand and recognize that we have some online only part-time faculty that do not live right here. And so driving into our open house meetings is not accessible. So we're trying to coordinate with all of the different potential needs of our part-time faculty so that you have the opportunity to meet us face to face and to shake our hands and to ask direct questions. If you know people that don't know very much about the union or what it can do and how it can help them, this is a great opportunity to come in and get a low-key introduction and socialize with other part-timers who understand the stresses and the problems that you experience. And this could be things like Canvas problems, or it could be, forms that are required for submission that you've never seen before. So we want our community to have multiple ways to engage with us and to engage with each other. So this slide here shows the dates for the upcoming scheduled part-time corner opportunities, and then also the open house meetings. And we tend to send the Zoom links out the first, like that week, and then have a reminder email. So you may get 2 or 3 emails from us, not because we're trying to spam you, I promise, but because we're trying to alert you because we really want to see you. So now let's transition and talk about the district a little bit. So the district office is our dollars, cents, and paperwork machine. So this is where we have all of our payroll, benefits, unemployment, salary advancement, health insurance, healthcare enrollment, grievances, complaints. This is where all of our core benefit stuff is handled, and benefits also include getting paid. And this is also where all of the paperwork that we're required to submit throughout the semester and the year is being generated from. So, HR hosts monthly office hours events that are either through Zoom or at individual campuses throughout every semester. So you'll be receiving an email that has a list of, different days and times that HR will come directly to your campus. And I strongly encourage people to go to these in-person HR events, or these open office hours, because sometimes asking questions through the phone line is very unproductive. You can feel like you're getting the runaround. You can feel like you're getting people who don't know how to answer your questions. You're not sure how to get through the automated phone system. And, going to these direct HR office hours on campuses is a great opportunity to sit down with somebody who has to look at you and say, I don't know the answer to your question. And then you can get a good process for following up and making sure that your needs are being addressed. So I like talking to people, not all the time. Sometimes I don't want to talk to people, but when I have a problem, I want to see somebody and say, how do I fix this? And maybe I'm old school, but really, I don't want to do 4 months of back and forth and, people saying, oh, I got you, but they don't really got you. So, I like having the in-person opportunity, but you can email and you can also call and pay attention to these emails, because it can be worth saving. So key individuals, we've had a lot of turnover at the district in the past couple of years. So if you have been around and you had a list of people, they may not be accurate anymore. We also have individuals that are relatively new, handling benefits that are new, like part-time healthcare. So this is a list of names and contact information for people that can help you with part-time healthcare, employee classification, payroll, disability accommodations, class advancements, evaluations. So keep this information handy, because one of the things that I think is really important is today you may say, I don't have a disability. I don't need a reasonable accommodation, so this information is not helpful to me. But situations can change very quickly and unexpectedly. And maybe in 3 months, you need a reasonable accommodation because you're going through a treatment, or because you're injured, or had some kind of hospitalization. Things can happen. So thinking through disability accommodations, reasonable accommodations, et cetera, and having a person to contact can be really important. So keep that in mind and keep this information. So another thing that is important is parking. You do not want to get a ticket. Like, it is such a waste of money to get a ticket when we're there to actively do our jobs. So, this QR code is for the college parking permit website, and that is mycampuspermit.com. And over on the right-hand side, you'll see that you need to select your campus. So when you click on select your campus, you have to scroll down. Don't select State Center Community College District. Select the campus that you will most likely be parking on. Now, good news, if you have this parking permit and you selected your home college, where maybe that's where you physically teach, like I teach at Clovis Community College in person. If I drive to Fresno City, Madera, Reedley, and I'm parking there, I don't have to buy another parking permit. It's valid for all 4 campuses, but it is basically asking you to pick a campus to be your primary one. Now, some people are teaching online, but they want to have a parking permit for other reasons, like office hours, stuff like that, then you would still need this parking permit. So if you get a ticket or you have any parking or safety issues, you'll need to contact your local campus police department to get it addressed. And the parking permits are purchased online, and then they are mailed to your home. And they'll give you a receipt that is a temporary parking pass that you can print out, fold up, and put in your dash until you receive your permanent parking permit sticker. So keep that in mind. I have gotten a ticket. Please don't be me. It's very unfortunate. All right. So we're going to make another transition. And this one is going to be talking about the paycheck. So our paychecks can be wildly confusing. They're using descriptions that don't particularly make sense. Things are in different line items. This is not going to fix the confusion for all of that. We do have people who at the Union House who can help you understand whether or not you're being paid correctly, though. So, not understanding your paycheck does not mean that you can't get support if you have concerns. So, one of the things that is important to review on your paycheck is your position, grade, and step. So your position, grade, and step is dependent on your education, your qualifications, and whether or not you've done salary advancements, et cetera. There are very few circumstances where you will not be able to do a class advancement. So I'm in that circumstance because I have a doctorate degree in clinical psychology. So there's nowhere else for me to go. So I'm at the top position grade and step, or not step, but the position grade because of my doctoral education. So under the employment tab in self-service, you can verify that your position grade and step info is accurate or makes sense. And you will also see your hourly paid breakdown. So that can be a range, because different grades and steps get paid differently. It will also mention lecture hours, where you can see, like there's an example on screen where it says, for example, someone who is class 5, step 5C should be at $92.81 per hour. This would be listed as adjunct faculty supplemental. And it's interesting. I think that's where I get confused. I'm like, why is it supplemental? Like, this is my regular pay. But it's just how the district names it. And so if you look there and you feel like your pay is not right, or you have a question, you can contact Ashley Rocker Green and she can help walk you through it, or connect you with somebody to help you understand it better. And then there's other information that includes stuff like you'll have a line for office hours pay, because that's paid at $35 an hour. Then training pay, which is paid at $26.75 per hour, and other forms of non-class work. So sometimes I will volunteer to provide tutoring support at the end of the semester. At Clovis Community College, we call that Finish Strong. And so when I do that, that is paid at the office hours rate. So it's paid at, or I think so. Actually, now I'm not sure. Maybe it's a little less. I think it's around office hours, see my hand, about office hours pay rate. And so that will be having a different line item than my lecture hour pay on my pay stub. So it can be confusing. I have been doing this for not so long, 4 years, and I feel like my paycheck is still kind of a mystery. And that, I think, is a normal situation. So don't feel alone and feel like, oh, I'm just the weirdo that doesn't understand my paycheck. You're not. And if you genuinely have concerns or questions, please contact the union so that we can help you. Because there's another line item that's on the screen that talks about large group instruction. And so this is particularly relevant for our bio or chemistry instructors that may have a class size that has 75 to 100 students in it. And so you will have a different LGI, enhancement to your pay because your classes are so big. Okay. So now let's talk about part-time healthcare. So this is currently in the pilot phase where part-time healthcare is evolving. And right now, to be eligible, part-time faculty need to have a 50% full-time load to be eligible. And that's an average over both fall and spring semesters. So if you look at 50%, full-time loads are classified as 15 lecture hour equivalents. So, or 15 credit hours is how I think of it. And I know that's wrong, but that's, I've been teaching for almost 20 years. I seem to can't, lecture hour equivalence was a new thing for me. So 50% of 15 lecture hour equivalents is 7.5. So most of us are not teaching 7.5 credits every semester. That's very odd. So if you work in a department like me, I teach psychology, and my classes are typically 3 credit hours. And so if I'm teaching the maximum that I can teach, I'm typically going to teach three credit hour classes. So that means I will have 9 LHE for the semester. Now, if I drop down in spring, let's say because my classes didn't make, and let's say I only had 1 class that made, then what that means is if I average the 9 credit hours from fall and the 3 credit hours from spring, that's 12 divided by 2 is 6. I don't have eligibility for part-time healthcare. So what it works out to, and just kind of keep this as like a benchmark in your mind, you need 3 classes in one semester and at least 2 classes in the other semester. And this can be a little different if you have 1 credit classes, or if you have large group instruction, which changes your LHE, if you teach labs, which have different rates, right? So you have to be mindful, and you need at least an average of 7.5 LHE across fall and spring semester. Otherwise, you are not eligible for the healthcare. And then if you are non-instructional, you have to average 17.5 hours per week of employment. So this would be like counseling staff, or people who work in psychological services or health services, right? If you are part-time, you need to average 17.5 hours per week. So the different plans that we have available right now are all Kaiser, only Kaiser. So we have the Kaiser PPO, which that one is actually new, but the Kaiser PPO has a higher it's the highest employee contribution amount, but that is the PPO option that is available. Then we have a Kaiser high deductible HMO, a Kaiser low deductible HMO, and then the Kaiser high deductible HSA compatible option that is 0 premium dollars per month. However, the deductible is high. So those are the 4 benefit plan options that we have available. And spouses, domestic partners, and most children up to age 26 or children with permanent disabilities may be registered dependents with the requisite documentation. So Benefit Bridge is a resource that Benefit Bridge is where we register for these benefits. So this is a slide that has the email, the phone numbers, and the websites to access this content. And then lastly, or I'm pretty sure we're getting close to lastly, is talking about sick leave. So sick leave is accrued even by part-time faculty. And there are forms that have to be submitted through each of your campus and approved through your deans to use this sick leave. So if it is, last minute, then each campus is going to have an opportunity or have a phone number so that you can call and have that person notify your class that you will not be present. And if it is known in advance, then you can file the forms and get it pre-approved and access your paid sick leave. That is also available through self-service. So divisions and departments are the places where you will get your classes. So this is your class assignments. This is the different scheduling. This is where your evaluations will be, coordinated through. This is also where you'll be submitting your syllabus and requests for textbook adoptions, including zero-cost textbooks or OERs. This is also going to be your point of contact if you have any classroom management issues, or if you need to submit your paperwork to request approval for office hours or different pay, sick leave, if you are substituting and you get paid for the substitution credit, all of this stuff will be submitted through your divisions and department heads. And so these also are the people who organize division and department meetings and send out key information that is going to be helpful for your specific division. So like I need discipline specific information for psychology instructors. I don't know that the biology information will help me or not. So I want to go through my division and department to get my discipline specific information. So your division has your dean that oversees multiple departments. So like social sciences is more than just psychology, but deans typically are not teaching and they meet regularly with other deans or vice presidents of instructions, et cetera. They're the ones doing strategic planning and resource allocation and assignment management, doing hiring and firing, hopefully no firing, and then managing all of the course assignments. So your specific department is the one that has a department chair. This is where I'm going to get my psychology specific information. And these are the ones that are going to do program review and curriculum updates. And these are not supervisory, these are liaisons. So they are not the ones responsible for performance evaluations or things like that. That is different. That goes through the dean. These are the ones who are in charge of really just making sure that everybody is on the same page. So then you have different division staff. So this could be admin, this could be other faculty with specific assignments, like achieving the dream assignments or curriculum assignments. And then there's you. And so you are an important cog because you have creative control over the content and instruction in your class. So the course outline of record is a guide to give you standards of things that should be considered for inclusion. But we do have academic freedom and the ability to creatively produce content that is right and appropriate for our students. We're responsible for grading and attendance. We're responsible to, meet certain requirements for online instruction, like RSI. If you don't know what that is, you should come to one of my office hours. But we also have some wonderful, instructional support people that are at every campus that are there to help you understand what the RSI standards for online classes are. And if you have a question, if you need support, if you have issues with your access, like I had an issue, I adopted a different textbook for a class this semester, and I couldn't get access to Cengage. And so I had to contact my dean so that I could email the right people and verify my employment, so that Cengage could say, yes, you're a real person who deserves access. And now I have my access. So if I need that kind of support, these different individuals are the people that I contact to make sure that I can be the most successful teacher that I can be. So when we think about our semester, it begins at step one. You have to be hired. So before you sign your contract, you need to ask any questions that you have to make sure that you understand what you're being expected to do. You check the course outline of records, you look at the, different sample syllabi, create your syllabi, check your emails for department news because classes can be canceled or changed, and make sure that you have keys, parking passes, know where you should be, know where your classrooms are, all of that good jazz. And then as you go through the semester, you are going to be, making sure that you're applying for office hours, that you're communicating with your dean, that you're submitting your syllabi to the program staff, that you are dropping students who are not participating. When we get through the midterm and the preparation for finals, you're making sure that your students are being properly supported, that all of your Canvas stuff is working, and then you're starting to prepare for the final submission of grades and attendance. and then wrapping up the semester and doing all of your final grade submission through self-service. So there's a lot of little bits and pieces. And if you're struggling along the way, always ask questions. So part-time office hours are currently supported, but not guaranteed. So it is really important that you communicate with your dean and get it approved, via email where everybody said, yes, you're authorized to do this. And there are limits on how many office hours you can be compensated for, regardless of how many classes you are teaching. So the dean and their support staff will be the ones who verify all that information and tell you what you are eligible for. And then you need to document attendance, where you're doing it, when you're doing it, all of that good stuff so that it can be submitted for you to get paid at the end of the semester. So these office hours cannot be 100% online. Only 20% of your office hours can be online, even if it is a 100% online course. That is frustrating. I understand. That is what is in the contract currently. So if you need space for your office hours to be performed, that is a good time to reach out to your dean or their program staff to help identify office space or classroom space that you can utilize. So individuals who are solely, semester-based instructors may be eligible for unemployment when we are not teaching because our employment ends when the semester ends. And so we have unemployment workshops that are funded through the California Federation of Teachers each semester. And we try to promote those out and get people the information they need so that you can be compensated as best as possible throughout the year. So if you have questions, as we approach the end of the semester, please reach out to one of your part-time at-large representatives. Obviously, today, this is our flex day. And so this is the back to basics for part-time faculty. There are so many things that we did not have the opportunity to cover. And I don't want you to feel like this is a one and done. This is a one and to be continued. So my goal and my hope is that if you have ongoing questions, that you will not hesitate to reach out to your union representatives for any support. It may feel like a stupid question, but if it gets in the way of you doing your job or you getting paid or you feeling safe, that's what we are here for. So that is the bulk of our presentation for this session for all of the campuses. FCC staff can please feel free to stay online. We've got some specific FCC resources coming. We are on social media, so if you would like to follow us, please follow us. We love having supporters. And this is a location for our physical union house. So if you access this QR code, then it will show you the address, which is 1575 North Van Ness Avenue, which is kind of catty corner from FCC. So it's on Van Ness, just south of FCC across the street. Real easy, wonderful blue house. And the executive director and organizer, Ashley Rocker Green, she is present there largely, but not always. So if you need to meet with her, you can try to drop in, but I always recommend calling first. So we appreciate you. If you are not an active current dues paying member yet, but would like to become one, please scan this QR code. It will take you to the membership form. And remember, for part-timers, the monthly dues are only $16 a month. So we appreciate all of our part-timers, whether or not you're dues paying members, but we hope you will join us. All right. So for those of you who are not currently working with Fresno City College and have other breakouts or flex day events to attend, we enjoy meeting you, and I hope I see you in the future, whether it's a part-time corner or office, the open house meetings, or if we see you at different social events. So thank you so much for your participation today, and let us know if you need any help. And I'm going to pause for just a minute with my speaking so that I can check in for FCC. Here we go.
Okay, so this slide is just a breakdown of Fresno City services. The key offices, administrative services are where you can get your staff ID cards. And I'll mention that as a resource a little bit later. Your staff ID card can afford you some local benefits, and we'll get to that. But it is free for you. They'll take your picture, print out your card in administrative services. This is also where you get your classroom keys and any building fobs. So as an English instructor, I teach in the LA building. Our office isn't open until 8 a.m. So if I had a 7 a.m. class, I might need that fob to access the LA building. So if you have an early morning class, you may need a fob. It's generally not a necessity for a lot of faculty. Office of Instruction is going to be the office that collects all of your teaching materials, your syllabi, your faculty evaluations go through there. If you have any questions about the evaluation cycle, we do have some videos for that on our members only site, and you can feel free to get in contact with any of your at-large reps. And I want to make a point that our member rights reps generally deal with some larger cases or potential grievances. So if you have general questions, it helps to reach out to your at-large reps. That way our member rights people can reserve that time for the heavy lifting that they have to do. Your office hours will also go through the Office of Instruction. All of that also first goes through your division dean, but this is kind of the office that houses all that information. Admissions and records, they're where we get all of our grades. They're the fun people that verify our rosters and attendance records and send us those, yay, you've completed things, or, oh, hey, something needs action emails. So if you have any issues with grades, dropping students, A&R is the place that you're looking for. Technology support services has all of our media services, tech rentals and repairs. This is a lot mostly for students. So I know there are some instructors that have been able to rent or check out laptops, but everything is first come, first serve through tech services, and they are student centered. So just feel free to reach out to them. You've got the help desk number down there. They're located in our library, so feel free to stop by and ask questions if you need to. And then on our website, the FCC faculty and staff tab has a lot of links. So I do believe within there, there's a link to they call it, I believe the adjunct connection or adjunct start page. And that kind of has a lot of the information that we're going through in this presentation, but specifically for Fresno City, where you can find your syllabus guidelines, where you can find specific forms that you might need. All that stuff is in that faculty and staff tab. Access to campus data, links to campus resources, and that's located at the top of the FCC homepage. So those are just some key places where things are housed at Fresno City College. If you have any questions, obviously you can reach out to us and make sure that you're reaching out to your part-time, fellow part-time, full-time staff and division offices. Next slide, please. Okay, so our parking permits, there's a QR code there. Cash payments can be made in the business office. So I know not everybody wants to do it online. If you go into the business office in OAB 151A, so when you walk through those front doors in the OAB office, 151 is going to be on your right. If you get a ticket or have any parking concerns, you can contact the campus PD. I do want to point out, as far as I know, you have to pay for the extra little plastic placard that your permit goes on. So I just want to make sure that at least at Fresno City, you know, that may be an extra cost. I think it's ridiculous, but they're separate, your parking permit and that little placard that it goes on. The emergency line number is down there. So you can use that number if you're on a cell phone or the extension from any campus phone. RPD is pretty responsive, but you'll notice that there are ticketing permitters out in the parking lot. Those aren't the same thing as our campus PD. They can help answer questions for you, but if you do need some emergency services, make sure that you're calling that number. Next slide. And I hope I'm not going too fast. So our part-time faculty hub. So this is a unique resource that we have here at Fresno City. This is our Canvas page, and essentially there's a copy of a presentation that was similar to this that I conducted last fall Flex Day, and it's all for Fresno City part-timers. So there's a copy of that presentation on that page. I, Samantha Brookshore, and Monique Quintana kind of switch off maybe once a month, trying to update the content that's on there. There are options for discussions, so you can reach out to other part-time faculty within divisions or between divisions. Yeah, but it's just a nice place that we can reach out and help facilitate things. I believe last semester I made announcements on HR office hours. So when the district was coming to our campus, some little announcements in terms of census dates or any questions that folks may have had wrapping up the semester. So that's a nice place that we can reach out in a way that I think is accessible to most part-timers. I know most of our online instructors are part-timers. So please check out that faculty hub. If anything is outdated or if you have any questions, we normally try to check in with the discussion board, at least I do, every other week or so. But if you have any pertinent or timely questions, always feel free to reach out to us via email. The hub is self-enroll, so there's a link down there that'll take you straight to the page. You can click on the self-enroll, and then it's kind of self-paced through the modules.
Okay, I'm in now.
Okay, next slide. So another unique thing that we have at Fresno City is a secured office space for part-timers. We got this last fall. It's going to be in OAB 220, so that's upstairs in the west wing by the opposite of the west courtyard. Surprisingly enough, this was the office that I had when I first got hired full-time. So I was in cubicle 2 for a number of years, and that was a very nice office to be in. So as the image indicates, the cubicle 4 is occupied, so there is a staff member in there. Cubicles 1, 2, and 3. I will be going in to label those. And so what we're hoping is, last fall it was kind of a free-for-all, but if you do get approved part-time hours, and this will be in the next slide, you can contact me and I'll get you in contact with the administrative services rep that'll get you a key. I do want to point out that there is a teacher's lounge, so if we don't get you in, there is a teacher's lounge in OAB 181, and the entry code is there. You cannot hold meetings or office hours in that teacher's lounge. So if anybody catches you doing that, that's a no-no. But it can be a nice quiet place to have lunch, to catch up on grading, to meet up with other faculty. When I was in OAB 220, I used to go down there all the time just for a little respite from my office mates. It gets a little chatty, but that's an additional space in OAB that you can use. So next slide. All right. So this is my email address. So once you get your approved office hours, shoot me an email so I can start a list of part-timers that need that space or are interested in that space. You don't have to use that space. Like we mentioned earlier in the presentation, you may use a classroom space, or you might be able to. You can use a classroom space, or you might be able to use a faculty space. Full-time faculty, it's not uncommon for us to share our offices. I know I have colleagues, we're in the English department, but we're in the humanities division. So I have colleagues in English that actually share their offices with foreign language faculty. So it's not uncommon for us to share our spaces. It's just a matter of asking. And I always tell people the worst anyone can say to you is no. So reach out to those full-time faculty. But if you do want a chance at that full-time or that part-time office space, email me. I'll get you in contact with administrative reps, and they'll be able to get you a key into that office. Last fall, we were trying to figure out a key rotation, but administrative services, for their records, wants anybody that's going to be in the office to have their own key so they can keep track of it. So if you are working with part-timers in the same department or division, we might be able to work a key trade-off there. But just note that if you want into that space, you'll need to make sure that you contact me because you'll need your individual key. Next slide. Okay. And then lastly, a few other resources, like I mentioned, the Staff Lounge in OAB 181. The RAM Pantry, some folks don't know, they do have surplus at the end of the week, so that they offer to faculty and staff. So look for those emails from the pantry. And if you're not finding those emails, or if you're just wondering if they have anything extra around Thursday, just give them a call at that number and they'll let you know. Normally we've got produce and things that, we've got to get out quick. So they don't want to keep those things over the weekend. And then third, get your ID badge. One of the cool things that I just found out last summer actually, is that the district has a district link with Enterprise Rental Car, and we can get discount rentals. There are some other local things. I think I got like 10% off an oil change. I can't remember where, but that staff ID badge can afford you some lovely teacher benefits, especially during teacher appreciation weeks. But people want to see that you work where you say that you work. So administrative services can get you that badge, take your picture, print it out all in one go. You have to make an appointment. So make sure that you email, I think it's Melissa Yanes in our administrative services department. And I believe that is all that I have. So we've got a little bit of time left over. So if anybody has any questions, I'm welcome to field those.
And we also have additional union representative available if you have other questions about joining, or, other information about adapting to your new home campus. So if you have any questions at all, please go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can submit your question in the chat and we will try to answer it, or we will get to you later.
Hi.
And I'll also,
sorry.
Hi,
I just want to
Maria.
make it.
I'll be
Go
teaching
ahead.
at the West Fresno Center. Is there any a space over there too for office hours?
I'll be at the West Fresno Center this spring as well. So email me. Hopefully I'll see you. There aren't any specific office hour spaces out there. The last time I was there, I met with students upstairs in the second story lounge. There's a conference room on the first story that may also be available. And you may or may not, the library is pretty small over there, but there's not a lot of folks on that campus yet. It's kind of growing. So as long as you can kind of keep things a little quiet, the library might also be a space that you can use for office hours.
I have a quick comment on that. I was out at West Fresno on Wednesday, and they actually showed me 4 cubicles that they have set up now for office space.
Nice. Are they on the second floor?
I'm sorry?
Are they on the second floor?
No, it's on the first floor.
Okay.
Right across from where that whole administrative suite is. So I think it's pretty new, but I just wanted to add that.
Good. I think that's a much better use of that space. They just used to have like some tables and things there before. But I will make a note of that. Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you for answering my question.
Mm-hmm. And then what announcement did you want to make, Rhea?
That we also have benefits through the union. So we are under the American Federation of Teachers, California Federation of Teachers. So if you join us, there are some benefits through them as well in terms of like rentals, flights, and all kinds of stuff.
Also,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, real quick. In the chat, Rhea, they were saying the teachers' lounge is still not working as of today. And the
OAB?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, OAB 181 was not working yesterday and today.
All right, I'll have to go over there later on this afternoon and see what's up.
Yeah, so when it comes to other union perks and benefits, the American Federation of Teachers, Union Plus page actually has a ton of resources available. So if you are an active dues paying member, you have access to all of those resources, including things like financial education. They have a lot of financial supportive services. And then they also have additional trainings, webinars, like it's not just discounts for services or products, but it's got a lot of cool stuff that I find myself kind of cruising around and seeing if anything applies to me. And I've used quite a few of the benefits over the past couple of years.
Do you know, Leanna, do they have anything about student loans?
They do.
Okay.
So, and that was what one thing that I did not get to in, I made a note to myself to go through it, but something that we're exploring is bringing informational sessions here to support individuals to apply for the public student loan forgiveness program. And, there are limitations. Like, I know a lot about student loans. I'm actually a PSLF recipient for my student loans. So I know about the process of going through it and getting approved and having loans discharged, all of that stuff. But I did not do it for my teaching benefit. I did it for my full-time job. So anyway, there's a lot of people who don't think that they're eligible for student loan forgiveness as a part-time instructor, but yes, there are requirements, but a lot of people are. And so we're trying to bring those education resources to our local campuses to support our teachers pursuing forgiveness if they're eligible. And AFT has access to student loan webinars, to debt reduction webinars, things like that. So we will be sending that information out because this is something that I'm particularly passionate about. And student loans are such a large burden that I want as many people to learn about what's available and different resources as possible. But
And I
thank you
see a
for
couple,
cueing me, Ria.
yeah. I see a couple things in the chat. When I find out any updates, I'll be sure to put those on the part-time faculty hub. So if you look there later on this afternoon or early next week, there'll be some new announcements.
Thank you for those who attended today. And again, if you have any questions, if you don't feel like doing it here on Zoom, we can end the recording and we can do it off recording, or you can contact any one of us and we can help support you in any way that you would like. Email us, contact us, all those things.